Hello boys and girls, welcome to the Math Club. In this video, we're going to talk about Mathematics Year 9 Achievement Test, October 2021. Section A, Question 1, Simplify. Question 1 here, we have 11b minus 5c minus 6b plus 3c. We're going to simplify this to its simplest form. And by simplifying, it means find the like terms and add them, subtract them together, and then you'll end up with the last simplified expression. Now, first, let me do this so we can work down here. Let's make it white. Okay. Now we have 11b here. Let's find the like terms. We have 11b and minus 6b. These are the same, so we're going to work them out together. So 11b minus 6b, 11 minus 6 equals 5. So it's 5b. Good job. Now we look for other like terms and we find that minus 5c and plus 3c are the same because they have the same variable. And like terms are terms that have the same variable, c, c, b, b, like that. Now, minus 5 plus 3, when you calculate this with a calculator, it will give you, yes, minus 2c. Good job. Minus 2c. And this is the final answer for this question. So it's 5b minus 2c. And this is the answer. And these are the steps that we did. So we found the like terms, we add them and subtract them together. Same idea with the other like terms, we add them, subtract them together, we end up with 5b minus 2c. Now let's move on to the next question. Question 2. Question 2. Which word is used to describe a 195 degrees angle? 195 degrees angle. Now, first, we have to understand what does it look like. So we're going to cover this, and we're going to work here. 195 degree angle will look something like this. Let's make it blue. More than 100, so it's here. This is 195 degrees angle, something like this, okay? Now, how do you describe this angle in words? That's the question. Now, before that, I'm going to explain every single word here, okay? Now, this is acute. Acute means what? It means an angle between 0 and 90. So it's smaller than 90 and bigger than 0. That's the meaning of acute. The second one is obtuse. Obtuse means bigger than 90 and smaller than 180. So it looks something like this. Bigger than 90, smaller than 180. And then the next one that we have is reflex. Reflex means what? It means if you have an angle like this, reflex is the angle outside of it. So it's what? It's bigger than 180, smaller than 360, smaller than 360. And the last one is the right angle. The right angle is a 90 degrees angle, which looks something like this. It's a 90 degrees angle. So which one do you think describes 195 degree? Very good. It's what? It's obtuse. It's the only one that looks the same as this. So the right answer is obtuse. Very good. Now, let's move on to the next question. Question 3. One letter is chosen at random from the word mathematics. What is the probability that the letter chosen is T? Now, first, we count how many numbers do we have here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So when we have a fraction, we're going to have 11 in the denominator because we have 11 numbers in total. Now we need to count how many t's do we have. We have 1 here, 2 here. So it's 2 over 11. So the probability of picking a T is 2 over 11. And this is the correct answer for this question. So as we talked about probability before, you have to count the total number of letters and then put them in the denominator, and then count how many letters do they want in the question and put them in the numerator, and you will have a fraction or a probability fraction. Now let's move on to the next question. Question 4. In question 4, on which of these diagrams is a segment illustrated? Which one of these is a segment? So because we have these here, we have to understand each one of them. We talked about some of them before. I think all of them we talked about them. This one is a line that connects the circumference to the center of a circle, and we said this is called a, very good, a radius. Radius. Good job. And then this one is a line which is on the circumference of a circle, so it's a part of the circumference. And we call this what? We call it an arc. Arc. Good job. These are areas. So this is an area which is not touching the center, and this is an area that touches the center of the circle. And we said the one which is touching the center of a circle is called sector. Very good, sector. And then the last one, which is here, which is an area that doesn't touch the center, we call it a segment. Segment. Very good. And this is the answer of our question. So that's a segment. So it's the one which is illustrated here. Okay? So we have to understand every and each one of them. This is a radius, a center touching line. An arc is a line on the circumference. Segments and sectors are areas. One of them is touching the center, it's called a sector. And the other one is not touching the center, it's called a segment. Now, let's move on to the next question. Question 5. Which phrase describes the relationship illustrated on the scatter graph below? Here we have a scatter graph. And as you can see in this scatter graph, the points are everywhere. They're not forming any relationship together. They are everywhere. So if they are scattered around the graph, we call this what? Very good. We call it no correlation. We call it no correlation. It means there is no correlation between them. So what's the meaning of positive correlation and what's the meaning of negative correlation? Positive correlation means what? It means that the points, for example, yes, I'll explain this. The meaning of positive and negative is important. So let me explain it here. Let me cover this like this. Let's say that you have the scatter graph like this, okay? If the points are formed like that, for example, like this, in a form like that, it means what? It means they are formed in a way going up like this. We call this positive correlation because it's going up together. We call it positive correlation. And if they are going down, for example, if they are forming together like this, let me show you, like this, in a way that they are going down, we call this negative correlation, in which the best fit line will be over here, for example. So we call this negative correlation. So positive correlation means they are going up, negative means it's going down. Direct correlation is not related to the scatter graph. No correlation means they are everywhere like this one. They are scattered around the graph, so there's no correlation between them. Now, let's move on to the next question. Question 6. Let me put it like this, yes. Okay, let's make it smaller so we can see. There are 30 students in a class. Each student plays a game against their teacher, which they either win, draw, or lose. Each student then takes a test that they can pass or fail. Some information about the students is recorded in the two-way table below. This is a two-way table, and a two-way table means it is giving us two information at the same time. That's the meaning of two-way table. Now the question is, how many students draw the game and fail the test at the same time? As you can see, the two-way table is missing some numbers. So we have to fill the numbers first, and then we're going to answer the question. How do we fill the numbers here? We fill the numbers by completing these. For example, this is the total of 8 plus this. This one is the total of 8 plus this. So as you can see, the total is here, total, and then this total is the one on the horizontal line. So 8 plus 5 plus this equals this, 21. So we're going to complete all of the missing numbers, and then we're going to answer the question. So we're going to say 8 plus what equals 11? 8 plus 3. Very good. And then we finish this total. Now let's come to this one. 8 plus 5 plus something equals 21. You can use a calculator for this. You can say 8 plus 5 is what? 8 plus 5 is 13. What do we add to 13 to get 21? Very good, it's 8. Or we can say 21 minus 13. Very good. So this one is 8. Good job. Now we're going to complete the rest. Here, 8 plus 4 equals what? We're going to put it here in the total. It's 12. Good job. And then we have this. The total of the totals is 30. So 11 plus this plus 12 equals 30. So let's first find 11 plus 12. 11 plus 12 equals 23. And then what's missing from 30? Very good. It's a 7. So this is a 7. So 11 plus 7 is 18 plus 12 equals 30. Now we're missing this number, which is 5 plus this equals 7. So this is 7 is the total of these two. So this is a 2. Good. And then the last one here, 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 4 is 9. So this is a 9. After finishing all of the numbers, now we can answer the question. How many students draw the game and fail the test? Draw the game and fail the test at the same time. It means what? It means you're going to match failing the test and drawing the game, and they will meet in one box. So this one, let's make it smaller. Sorry. The draw and the fail meets here. So this is the answer of the question. It's what? It's 2. Good job. So they have to meet together. So the draw and the fail, they meet at 2. So the answer is 2. And this is how you answer a question like this. So the first thing you have to do is finish the missing numbers and then find where they two meet. The draw and the fail, they meet at 2. It means the answer is 2. Now let's move on to the next question. Question 7. Round this number to 2 decimal places. Round this number to 2 decimal places. As we talked about before, rounding might be decimal places and might be significant figures. Now let's write the number first, 8.279, and then I'm going to explain the difference between them. We talked about rounding to significant figures and decimal places. Now, significant figures, as we said, you start counting from the first number if it's not a 0. But if it's a 0, you don't count it. So you never start counting from zeros for significant figures. You always count from other numbers which are not 0. Now, if you find a 0 in the middle, you count it. For decimal places, you start counting after the decimal point. After the decimal point. So here the question wants 2 decimal places. It means you need 2 numbers after the decimal point. And you have to include the first number here, but don't count it. So we're going to include this. We're going to count 1, 2 after the decimal point. So we have 2 numbers after the decimal point inside of the circle. And you have to include what's before the decimal point in the answer. Now, let's take a look at the number after the circle that we have. The 9 is big. The 9 is big. The 9, because it's big or bigger than 5, it means it's going to give 1 to the 7. It's going to give 1 to the 7. So it's going to make the 7 8. And the answer will be 8.28. And this is the final answer of this rounding. As we said, rounding to decimal places, it means you start counting from the decimal point. Because we need 2 decimal places, it means 1, 2. And then we close the circle, we look after the circle. If it's a number which is 5 and bigger than 5, it means we're going to add 1 to the one before it. If it's less than 5, we're just going to remove it. Now, this is how you answer a question like this. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.